Bravo family! Tonight we're going to dive right into the world of flamenco. Hold on to your corazones because things are going to heat up.
And it makes my lips
¿Qué?
want to shout too.
Oh.
Ah, yes. The ancient art of send the floor a fighter
yeah,
without
right.
burden the building.
Flamenco is a high-energy fusion of scales, vocal styles, and
let the
rhythmic
dance
structures.
breathe. It's not finals. Flamenco was born in Andalusia, a cultural stew with serious sabor. Arbolita,
Like a family reunion, where everybody brings their own rhythm.
so
What?
typical.
Moorish, Jewish,
Okay.
Indian, many roots on one tree.
Flamenco is rhythm, passion, soul, and dance that shouts, "Estoy vivo!"
Ode! Ode!
Yes, abuelita.
Ode!
Bravo!
Ode!
Sing.
Ode!
Bravo!
Dance to the rhythm, feel the heat. The Bravo show is here, it can't be beat. In the heart of the city.
Hola y bienvenidos. I am Roman Reyes, your host for this program we call The Bravo Show, where rhythm and color are in perfect harmony. Today we have a special guest, one that has a lot of passion for his work. He's an artist and he is a dancer. So from there we're going to get started. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Carlos Montufar.
And I know dancers and artists and performers have a hard time. Tell us a little bit about your growing up. Would you go to school? What you do? Those type of things.
Okay. I was born in Monterey Park, California. All I remember growing up was moving a lot. So we moved a lot. I don't know what we were running from, but we moved a lot. Last I remember, I lived in Downey, and then from Downey, California, we moved to El Paso, Texas.
Right.
That was more of my mother's decision to try to get us out of Los Angeles, out of out of California,
Right.
into more of a more stable environment, especially because we were all kids growing up. She wanted us to be safe, but our home was never stable. It was not a stable home. I was born, but before me being born, there was a divorce with my mother and my father, and then my stepfather. And so, being born into this type of situation, I found art, and it really did save me. Art, it was always in my heart, in my mind. While there was, fighting going on, I would go in and I would find my art.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
I always found myself drawing and painting, and my mom was very supportive of it. And so I was always in my little corner,
That is so reminiscent of what happened to me. My father was a minister, and we traveled a lot. And I had to resort to drawing and painting, and in the car with 4 brothers and 4 sisters,
Right.
sitting there just drawing. So, how did you feel about that? Personally?
It was my own world. It really was my own world. It was growing up in a very machista home, right?
Right.
I wasn't like other typical boys who were out playing sports and running around in the streets and coming in when the lights went out. And, I was on my bike and things, but I was always by myself and in my art. My mom almost thought I had something wrong with me because I always found myself kind of isolating myself just so that I could draw and paint.
Now, where was this at?
That was in California.
Oh, in
that
California?
has to be in California
Right.
because I left California right before I turned 6 years old. So all of my baby pictures are in California. My mom used to work for the radio station for KW.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. This is your mother right here?
Yes, that's my mom.
What a beautiful lady.
Yes, my mama. And then right there is my older sister in this photo right
This one
there.
here?
Yeah, that's my older sister, Cynthia. Also, we're all born in California, and I have a little sister too, Monica.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and that last photo right there with us, and right there.
That's
So
fantastic.
yeah, so we all, semi grew up in California, ended up in Texas.
So tell me, how did you had the drawing and painting and so forth. How did you get into the dance?
Into flamenco.
The flamenco.
So this is a memory that's always been very ingrained, very burned in my memory, because we were still in California. So I had to have been maybe 4 years old. My mom used to work for KW radio station, and we went to Placita Olvera. My mom, they would always invite her to events over in Los Angeles, you know, for the radio station, and she would take us. And I remember an event at Placita Olvera in Los Angeles, and I heard the palillos, the castanets.
Right.
And then I heard the guitar, and then I saw the dancers, and it was just this, it was like this fantasy world that happened in front of me, and it was just something that really, as a baby, I was little, but it really did move me. It moved me to the point where it was so burned in my memory, and it was something that I always talked about. My mom would always tell me that I would talk about it to her all the time, about how excited I was. And from there, like, and I still have the visual of the girls, everybody dancing on the stage. And since then, it was just something, not knowing that I would eventually get into it, but always hoping it was going to be part of my life somehow.
Right.
And so anytime I would hear something on the radio or any type of fusion with flamenco guitar, or I would hear the quejidos of the singing, you know, I would right away, I would gravitate to that.
Now, where was this at now?
This was in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
That's when it first started.
So then, how did you gravitate from there to
more professional.
Professional, yeah.
So once I left El Paso, because El Paso for me was a sleepy town. I knew I was not going to grow the way that I wanted to as a person, not only an artist, but as a person. I wanted to see more of the world.
Right.
I left El Paso. I came here to Phoenix, Arizona. I had right after high school.
Which is the one?
That's actually Yellow Shirt.
Yellow Shirt.
Yeah,
okay.
that was I had just turned 18.
Oh my God.
That was like right after.
Wow.
So I graduated in June of 2001, and then by July I had my birthday, and then by August I was already in Arizona.
Fantastic.
So it took me about 2 years to try to find flamenco here. A lot of people didn't know what it was.
Right.
And so I thought I was going crazy because I would ask around and people had no idea what I was talking about until finally someone that I was working with over at Glendale Community College, because I was working in their tech center, knew Laura Moya, and it was like something through the chamber, the Hispanic chamber, something and we found a number for Laura Moya. And so I reached out to Laura, I went to her house, and she had these beautiful albums of her when she was younger, but she was already in her 80s when I met her. And that's when it started. My first class was in her home studio, and little by little, you know, she had stopped performing, stopped teaching, and then I gravitated more into I got into the flamenco community, and by word of mouth, and started taking class with Mali Duran, then Bernadette Gaxiola, and then I met Martin Gaxiola, who had started Calo Flamenco, which is like the first repertoire group here in Arizona, well, the largest one here in Arizona. And that just kind of catapulted me into taking more classes, more training. And then I moved to Albuquerque because I saw the professional company perform here in Phoenix, which is Yijastros out of New Mexico, Albuquerque. And the moment I saw them, I said, that's what I want. That's where I want to go. And back then, those times, it was MySpace.
Now, you know, whenever I see flamenco and they're really into it and they're sweating and they're going really fast, and what does that feel like? I mean,
that's what we call duende. That is like when the moment where you are no longer creating for someone else. You're creating in the moment
for yourself,
and it's all real.
Real, yeah.
You take your life, and it's as if you're molding something that has happened to you, that is happening to you in the moment. You create it there on stage, and then everything connects. The guitar is on point. The singer knows when to come in. The palmas, the compás, everything, and you just kind of have this out-of-body experience.
You're in a zone.
Yeah, you're in the zone. You know, and that same zone is in a lot of different cultures and dances. You know, because I had worked with an Indian classical dancer who said it was called the little fire for them.
The little fire,
The little fire. Where they kind of go, you kind of space out, you zone out. It's almost hypnotizing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's very common in a lot of, like in running, I was a gymnast in gymnastics, where even though you're in a team, but you're out there by yourself.
Right.
you're out there by yourself, and you know, either you do it or you don't do it.
Right.
And then you get into that zone, and it doesn't matter where you're
Right.
at.
And that zone, I almost feel was the same zone I used to get into when I was little, when I would get into that's what felt so familiar, is that there comes a point where everything else fades and it's just you.
Right.
You know.
Now, how did you break into the professional aspects of it?
So professionally, after I was training in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I get a call from Charo. Classical guitarist Charo.
Cuchi, cuchi.
Cuchi, cuchi. And for her to call me personally
Oh,
was
my
actually a big thing, because I know there was a lot of references that my name was given out to her, or through whoever was marketing for her project out in Las Vegas.
Word of mouth, yeah.
And so I knew that if she was calling me something, she needed a dancer. She needed someone.
Right.
And so what turned into a temporary move from Albuquerque became more of a permanent, because my life ended up moving back to Arizona. While I went to, we trained in Beverly Hills, and then I moved to Las Vegas.
Right.
We did the show for maybe, I want to say maybe 8 months or so.
Oh my goodness.
And then she got injured.
Oh, wow.
So once she got injured, the show was canceled, and I was forced to move back to
my
Arizona.
goodness.
Yeah.
Now, being that you're a professional, how does business fit into this?
It's a very difficult, well, at least for me, I can only speak for myself, but it was a difficult transition because, again, as a painter, as an artist, how do you label your work? How do you value your work?
Exactly.
So that you don't seem like you're taking advantage, or, because in the end, being an artist, you're creating. That's the process. But then trying to pull that into the business side, it's almost as though you have to prove the quality of your work to other people, and how do you put a price to that?
Right, exactly.
And it took me a while to understand that, and it's taken me that long to know how much I was being taken advantage of.
True,
because as a beginning artist, a lot of people see that drive and that passion that you have, and they are going,
Well, it's like, we mentor a lot of students here, and one question that they ask all the time is, how much should I charge?
Right.
Well, then you have to go through the thing where, how much experience do you have, and so forth, and then you say, and then you have an artist that maybe spends, maybe a week on a painting and sells it for $1 million, and then they say, well, for a week, and then the artist would say, no, it was a lifetime.
Right.
It took me a lifetime to get here.
To this spot.
Exactly. So
and
that's
it's that same thing. It is that same thing, because in flamenco, being an artist and anything that you commit yourself to, it's an ongoing process of growth.
Right.
And so you really learn to value yourself, right? Because I feel like with every phase of my life, I've learned to love myself a little more and a little differently, because throughout all those phases, there was something that you were yearning for. There was something that you needed. There was something you were looking for. And it comes out. And it comes out in your dance. It comes out in your painting. And how you were painting 10 years ago is not the same as you were doing now.
Yeah.
It's a huge reflection. What you create is a reflection of who you are in that moment.
Well, now that you have all that, now I know you do a lot of stuff for the community. And how do you see you fit into the community with your skills and your talent?
So I decided back in 2016, because I was dancing professionally, I was burnt out, I was really tired, and I was starting to lose sight of why I was doing what I was doing. So then I said, I removed myself from all company names.
Oh, wow.
Right, because I almost felt as though being an artist, I was fighting for my own name.
Right, exactly.
Because it was this constant stamping of whose company did I belong to, who did I train under, who did you dance with, and it's no longer me as the artist. It's who was I under, where have I gone.
It's like wearing the patches or drivers.
Yes, and it's never my name. It's always somebody else's name.
Exactly.
And so I created a nonprofit, Phoenix World Arts Collective, with the mission, with the intent of creating a safe space for artists, creating a platform for upcoming
safe
artists.
Space, what do you mean by that?
A safe space. Because I was that artist that would say yes to everything.
Oh, yes.
Pro bono meant, it's a great opportunity. This will be great for you. And then you do it and you never get a call.
Right.
And you do it and you never I'd hate feeling that I wasted my time on something,
right.
and so a lot of artists up and coming don't have websites. They don't have, they don't have their information out there. Everything's word of mouth. They're still with the little cards and the little flyers. And so I figured, I can offer them space on my stage. I can offer them space on my website, give them a page, contact information, bookings if they need help with bookings, if especially with the flamencos now when it comes to performance, or anybody really who wants to produce a dance or music type of show, they don't know where to start, they don't know how to market it, they don't have a space, they don't even have a stage, they don't know how to speak to the business talk.
Right, exactly.
And so I figured I finally had those years under my belt, and I wanted to help.
Now, tell us a little bit about what you have now.
So now
What you have now, the professional aspect of
the professional aspect. So during my time working with, and it's Phoenix World Arts Collective, because as I performed, I danced with burlesque dancers, I danced with Indian classical, I had world shows, I danced with Mexican folk. So I had to adjust my flamenco with different fusions and things.
Well, you're using your talent to forge ahead.
Right. Exactly. And it's not so much it's my experience, it's me, right? And so because anybody else gets put into that situation, they can freak out sometimes because it's like, no, this is all that I know. I don't put me there because it's kind of an eyesore. But no, flamenco kind of adjusts with its environment, and that's something I've learned dancing for so long. So now professionally, now that I'm a resident artist for the Arizona Latino Arts and Cultural Center, I do Tablao La Pinta Flamenca here, which is a traditional flamenco show.
Fantastic. I've seen it,
And I've been here since when I started the nonprofit. So 2016, I started off with Café Flamenco, and then I left for a little while to do Café Flamencos, but with food, and it was like a gala. And then COVID hit, and everything kind of, I had to start over, right? But it was nice to come back to Ala because it was coming back home.
Good.
It was coming back home. And then now, again, with more experience, I have Tablao La Pinta Flamenca, which not only supports locals, but I support artists in New York.
Wow.
I've had artists from Barcelona, David Gutierrez, who's been here with his dance company. I have people from all over Albuquerque, New Mexico, from Santa Fe. I've had Laemi, locals. I help Francesca Flamenco. Currently, I'm working on a show with Julia Chacon and her Braided Roots. So it's nice to have such a huge network, because I have to think outside of Arizona.
Precisely.
And the U.S. is very connected when it comes to flamenco. So I need an artist. Let me call someone in San Diego, fly them down, let's do a show.
Oh, wow.
And the beauty of flamenco is, as long as you know how to talk it and know the structures, you can bring people in hours before a show, and it looks as though everybody practiced for 3 hours.
Well, we're getting pretty close to the end here, but we do want to see maybe a little action.
Okay.
And then also we'll be showing some of your videos. So,
perfect.
So we'll move on to that.
All right. Thank you.